Hi. So here's an online Python editor. There are many of them, and you can search online. So you can see what I'm gonna use in this video. That's guru99.com, and it has also many other actually online editors, not just for Python but also for other languages. So you can check it out. So here's it's a simple editor you can see, and you can just click to run the code that you have written in this small box here. So this is basically for beginning and for small examples. We can use these type of online editors, but as things get more complicated and we have longer codes, it's better to use your own editor, okay, on your local computer. Anyway, so here's an example. So if you want to define a function, let's say I want to convert miles to kilometers, okay, and I have this number of miles that's input as an x, as a variable x, and then I can convert it by dividing with this 0.62, and that gives the user the kilometer value that is converting the number of miles. Okay, so you can run this, or you can actually ask the user to input something. Let's say input number of kilometers, and then I can directly convert. I can also make sure this x is converted to a floating point, because the user might enter a decimal point number, or it might just enter an integer, we don't know. And then we can directly convert it to miles, and we want to print the result. So if you run this, for example, I want to calculate the number. Oh, sorry, actually I should ask the user the number of miles. Sorry, this should be the number of miles. And then we will convert it to number of kilometers. So if you want to print this, so let's say x is what the user entered us. So this is miles is equal to, we convert it to y kilometers. Okay, so this should work. So for example, I just say 100 miles. Okay, so 100 miles is equal to basically 161.2 kilometers. Okay. And similarly, you can write another function to convert, let's say, for example, kilometers to miles. Okay, and then in that case, you are going to multiply by 0.62. So that's a rounded number. It has more decimals, but just for simplicity, you can ignore the exactness of the computation here. So if you want to make it a bit more complicated, you can ask the user whether he wants to convert from miles to kilometers or from kilometers to miles. Okay, so we can also do that in, let's say, 2 steps. For example, we can have another variable, enter, let's say, 1 to convert miles to kilometers, enter, let's say, 0 kilometers to miles. Okay, so in this case, I have now a conditional situation, and I can change my code if, let's say, t equals to if t equals to, by the way, let me convert this first to an integer to make sure, and then I can say if t equals to 1, I want to convert miles to kilometers. So I can say I will call my function here, and then first I need to ask the user to enter the number of miles, And basically I'm gonna still use this one, take it here. So just a little bit reorganization. And basically I can print this, okay, X miles, which is entered by the user, is equal to basically, since this is already, okay, and elif, so the other situation is t equals to 0, okay, because we ask the user to choose which one he wants. And again, I want to ask the user to input now the number of kilometers this time. Enter the number of kilometers, and that's going to be converted. Okay. And another thing we need to do is now kilometers to miles function. We will call this function now, and we will assign this to our variable y, and then we will, in this case, print a similar but different different statement. String, so this is going to be kilometers is equal to blah blah miles. Okay, so let's run. Let's try if we have any error. So let's say we have 10. Oh, sorry. First we will choose whether we want 1 or 0. So let's say I want to convert miles to kilometers. Okay, so I click OK, and then the number of miles, let's say, is 10. And we can see that now it's going to be calculating 16.12 kilometers. Okay, so you can extend these kind of examples where you might ask the user to input something, and then based on his response, we can do some calculations or we can call some functions. Okay, thank you.